Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 181, and I'm continuing the stories from 1001 Arabian Nights. And as you might remember from the last story, the Caliph, the commander of the faithful, Houran Al Raschid, had found out that it was his own son, Al-Amin, who had flogged the girl, Amina, to the point where she was scarred for the rest of her life. And so he had his son called. And remember, it was the she-demon who had been a serpent who had told the caliph all this information as she was summoned when Houran Al Raschid burned the hairs that she had given Zubaydah. Well, Al-Amin was summoned, and Houran Al Raschid questioned him to make sure that the story was accurate, and Al-Amin confessed to everything that had taken place. Well, at this point, Houran Al Raschid sat back and thought for a while as to how to make all in balance, all in harmony, to bring peace to the entire situation. He had sent everyone away to give himself some time to think and reflect as to what he should do. And after some time, he had everyone called to him again. Al-Amin, his son, Zubaydah and her two sisters, who had once been black dogs, Amina, the flogged girl, and Sadie, the shopper. He also had the dervishes sent for. And once all were assembled, he called before him priests and witnesses to perform marriage ceremonies. Now, to Zubaydah and her two sisters, he married the three dervishes, and he put them in his service. To them, he gave them an elevated position since they were the sons of kings, gave them riches and wealth, horses to ride, and each one a palace in Baghdad. Al-Amin and Amina were married under a new marriage contract, and her wealth was restored to her, and her house was restored and rebuilt, even better than what it had been to begin with. Now, Sadie, the shopper, Houran Al Raschid married her himself. And when all was done, people were amazed by his thoughtfulness, by his wisdom for bringing solution to the lives of many people, freeing the three sisters from enchantment and torture. And hopefully, if those couples were willing to give in a way that it would take to have an ideal relationship, happiness would come. And these histories were recorded in a book that, well, was one of many that kept the history alive, or at least alive in any mind of that person that would read those histories. Some time passed, and Houran Al Raschid turned to Jafar on another day and said, "Let us go out and see how everyone is faring in our city. Of course, they did this in disguise, as was their custom. They'd been out wandering for some time when, as they were coming to the outskirts of the city, an old fisherman came in, his nets draped over his shoulders. With nothing, not a single fish, as a catch. He didn't look happy at all. And the caliph, Houran Al Raschid, had Jafar, his head vizier, go up and ask the fisherman how things were faring. The old fisherman said, "This has not been a good day at all. For all my casts into the river, I pulled absolutely nothing up. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I have nary a cent to feed my family." Houran Al Raschid asked, "Will you throw in your nets one more time for me? And I will pay you 100 dinars if you do so. Whatever you catch will be mine, and it will be good." The fisherman's eyes brightened up. It was enough money, well, to feed his family for quite a while, more than a month even. So the fisherman delightedly turned back toward the Tigris River, and down they went, the three of them. When he got there, he arranged his nets carefully, for he wished to do his best to bring in something good for this man, whoever he may be. He's going to give him money for one cast of his net. He thought to himself, if I don't catch something, well, I'll throw my net in again and again until I do. He threw his net out. And when he began to pull it in, it caught something that was large. Didn't seem to be struggling much, but whatever he had caught was big enough that he had to strain to get his net in as this thing came out of the water. Now, it turned out it was a wooden container, strapped down, sealed, it looked like, but heavy enough that it was weighted and had been at least close to the bottom, drifting along with the current of the river. Houran Al Raschid said, "Wow, this is interesting." He had the fisherman paid. Jafar went back, got some men, and they carried this container into the palace. They began to open it. Now, of course, Scheherazade stopped the story there, as we will as well, winning her and her sister, well, another day of being together, more stories to be told. So we'll pick this up on Sunday. Okay, have a good rest of your day. Thank you for joining.